The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar by SolutionXchg on S/4HANA and SAP Archive System migrations and consolidations. We're really happy you could attend and hope you find our topic of today interesting. My name is Kristen Gerling, and I will be your host throughout the session. Up front, a few administrative items. Our presentation today will take 30 minutes, with 10 minutes reserved for questions at the end. A few procedural notes on this as well. All participants are on mute during the full duration of the webinar. Please post any questions or concerns that you might have in the administration panel on the right side of your screen. If you cannot hear us or you cannot see the presentation, please also alert us through this question panel. We will send out a transcript to those who are interested after the webinar. Please let us know through an email to info@solutionexchg.com. That is info@solutionxchg.com. But let's get started with the topic. Our speaker today is my business partner, Jochen Hager. Jochen, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Kristen. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jochen Hager. I'm a managing partner with SolutionXchg, and as a company, we have about 20 years of experience in the SAP imaging and archiving market. And I'm looking forward to an exciting presentation today, sharing some ideas around SAP Archive System migration consolidations, specifically in context of an S/4HANA migration. Let me start looking at enterprise content management solution and in general, and look a little bit at the history of enterprise content management solutions. Enterprise content management started in a simplified form about 25 years ago. The term was formed about 15, almost 20 years ago. And while some solutions started small, a lot of them morphed into really large and complicated and oversized behemoths that are expensive to maintain, require a lot of different hardware components and software components, and as it turns out, are often oversized for the actual needs. In a lot of companies 10, 15 years ago bought into the idea that there should be one central location where all the documents of your enterprise are stored, and they can be managed there, retention can be managed there, access can be managed, and they've been sized for growth on large servers and with large databases. And in many, many cases, this vision has never really materialized. Many companies have invested into large solutions, paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for licenses, expensive maintenance payments over the years, without ever implementing a large-scale document management solution. So today, technology is never at a standstill, and today there is systems that can be had for way less money and provide more functionality, actually, with even less administration. So let's look at some of the functionality you should take a look at. In this, let me go to the next slide. So the topics you have to pay attention to is the general complexity of administration. There we have in typical large-scale enterprise management solutions. You have a multitude of servers. You have a web access component. You have an SAP connector component. You have a database component. You have user administration clients. You have Windows and other platform clients, you have mobile apps. All this together makes a variety of components that are hard to administrate and require expertise and a lot of training and administration. All these components, software components, of course, are also requiring specific hardware, and you have the hardware support fee. You have whether it's virtualized or physical hardware, and in the old days it was always physical hardware. That fee comes on top, and then many of those also require a database, and the database in itself, whether that's an Oracle or SQL Server database, requires maintenance, requires expensive fees for maintenance fees to the database manufacturer. And of course, then on top of all of that, you have to also manage the solution itself with its indices. Often you have user administration with that as well. So all this together puts you at an extreme cost disadvantage. And we want to show you how you can solve that challenge by implementing a much more streamlined solution that is dedicated for just SAP Archive and SAP Document Management, has all the same features, but none of the drawbacks I just outlined. We can demonstrate how you can migrate fast and almost risk-free with specialized migration tools and proxy functionality that we can provide. And with all of that, you can quickly realize significant savings. In fact, the solution often pays within 1 or 1.5 years, just based on the maintenance payments you have with your legacy solution. And on top of that, you get to reduce or repurpose your hardware. The solution can be completely virtualized, and that in itself is a huge saving and a huge advantage. Now, the solution we're talking about and we're promoting is the KGS software solution. The KGS is fully certified for your classical SAP ERP solution as well as for your SAP HANA solution. The certification was already completed early on in 2017, and KGS has in the meantime gained some experience with the first S4HANA customers. So really, now that you might be thinking about moving to S4HANA, if you already have a KGS system, everything is fine. You will be able to use the same system without any migration going forward. S4HANA implementations are typically greenfield or brownfield implementations, and in those implementations, you will just continue to use your existing document management solution. So from that perspective, if you are already on a streamlined solution like KGS, the KGS content server for storage, or a similar streamlined solution, then there is no need to worry. The solutions can just be used as they are. For all the other ones, of course, there is the general idea of reevaluating your needs when you go into your S4HANA environment, when you move into your S4HANA environment, and just because it is a greenfield or brownfield implementation, that in itself suggests that you might also look at your archiving solution. And this can, if you are going down that route, if you're considering as part of your S4HANA re-implementation also to streamline your archiving solution, the KGS solution comes with a unique migration tool that is specifically developed for these SAP archiving requirements and is able to to cope with the highest performance requirements. Later on, I will give you an example of how many terabytes and millions of documents we've been able to move in just a short few weeks for a major implementation, and the solution as well as the migration tool are fully certified by SAP. And with that, it's compliant to all SAP standards and the best fit solution. Now, this talk is also supposed to cover some of the ideas or requirements of an S4HANA solution. Here is a slide by SAP that shows the big picture and the S4HANA strategy. And the slide is very complicated, and this blue frame is added by us to highlight some of the solutions. So let me walk you through this here. We have on the left-hand side the business application, and as we know now, there is not just one SAP business application. There is an S4HANA application, cloud and on-premise. There is SAP Ariba, there is SAP Jam, there is Success Factors, and many other. This slide had its origin about 2 years ago, and not all don't pay too much attention to the labels planned and available and future. Those might have changed, and we are going to Sapphire in just a few weeks. In 6 to 7 weeks, we'll be there, and after that conference, we're planning to update this and get you the latest and greatest information that is available directly from SAP on these topics. But the general layout of what we have here is still very applicable. So in general, you have two ways to create content and run your applications: in the cloud and on-premise. And in the cloud, all applications are in the future connecting through the SAP HANA cloud platform using a content bridge, and allowing and giving you the capability through the SAP Document Center, that is also a cloud-based platform, a cloud-based application, to connecting to that same content bridge to archive documents and retrieve documents that have either been generated by these applications or have been generated in the past and are stored in some of these services on the left-hand side. And here the content bridge connects with an OR to various content management solutions. One is the SAP Document Service, which is a cloud based function delivered by SAP, and as such, it allows storing documents natively in a cloud environment provided by SAP. There is a fee for that that you pay, and it's basically, as it says here, it's a built-in content management system by SAP using this CMIS interface, which is a standardized interface by a collaboration defined by by companies collaborating on this particular technology. And that same interface, as you can see, is used throughout the other components. It's provided. It connects the OpenText content management system, which is classified, which is resold by SAP as a premium content management system, but it can also connect and handle other systems. For example, the archive link specific solution or archive link capable solutions, then through the SAP document management system that is a core component of your core on-premise SAP solutions, and that in itself relies on the SAP Content Server, and the SAP Content Server in its classic implementation has a SAP Archive Link interface. So in this slide, you could replace Content Server with any SAP Archive Link conform archiving solution, for example, the KGS solution or other solutions out there. But there is also a direct connection here from S4 HANA, the on-premise version that allows immediate access to the SAP Content Server or Archive Link functionality. We can see this on this next slide. This one here, bear in mind, is specifically for the on-premise version of S4HANA, not for the cloud version. The cloud version is only connected to the content bridge and requires, is not Archive Link capable, but the on-premise solution supports with the digital core S4HANA core CMIS, and also for compatibility purposes until 2025, to our knowledge, SAP Archive Link functionality. So the SAP CMIS API and Archive Link allow connectivity to an Archive Link archive through Archive Link. Here again, the SAP Content Server in place as a placeholder for any SAP Archive Link standardized archive. Here, the KGS archive, for example, that we use in our presentations, and we particularly promote, it has would be connected to the same interface. Or certified partners, which could be SAP Archive Link certified or CMS, and actually, to be more correct, KGS would be here right now, Archive Link certified, Archive Link conform as an SAP certified partner, together with OpenText and other applications. Now, KGS partially does and also will support the CMIS functionality, and this is a KGS slide I have adapted from one of their recent slideshows to show and talk a little bit about what functions and features are available in the new HANA Cloud Document Service. And the new document service, through its CMIS functionality, supports more than the classical Archive Link. It supports documents and folders. It supports metadata types and properties. It has a built-in query functionality called CMI SQL. It allows some versioning. It has implemented access controls and retention management. And SAP, on top of the standard CMIS functionality, which, by the way, there is quite some information out there on the internet that you can review, as well as the specification, as well as a prototype implementation for the platform that you can download from Apache open source websites to learn more about CMIS in general. SAP has added some features. It allows a ES encoding of the content to secure the content. It allows to implement a virus scan before any store create. It has a specific SAP client support based on the functionality available in the HANA Cloud platform, with authentication and authorization tied into your SAP authorization. There is lifecycle functionality. There is some automatic backup, remote backup functionality, and also some full text search functionality that is classically available by SAP. So based the standard functionality is available, and SAP has added some of it here in addition to what the CMIS standard provides. And here in that little graphic, again, your computer connected to the interface connects to the SAP Cloud Platform, and the SAP Cloud Platform uses the connection to the document service, and the document service then speaks to the SAP Cloud Platform document service implementation, the SAP specific version of it, or can speak to any other DM CMIS conform solution. For example, the future versions and newer versions of the KGS content server. Now, if you buy into the idea that with your greenfield or brownfield implementation, you really want to do a migration of your content, then now is the time to think about it. The migration functionality that is built into the KGS tool is really fast and highly risk reduced. We have proven that with many customers out there. Here is a selection of some of the customers we have successfully implemented the KGS solution. Dow Chemical, where it serves as an open text documentum replacement. The solution is virtualized with a cloud-ready architecture. With this particular client, even though not implemented yet, the open text ILM functionality was discarded, and instead the client intends to use the SAP ILM functionality by KGS as deemed necessary in the future. The solution here is about to go live and is ready to do a migration of the OpenText Documentum solution that is currently in place, with huge cost savings due to exactly the factors I mentioned before: extreme reduction in complexity, reduction in interfaces, reduction in components that makes this solution pay in itself in just a few months. Procter & Gamble, another one, it's one of our classic examples, a global archive replacement for a large number of SAP production systems and a migration of about 28 terabyte of data. That solution is currently being upgraded by us into a newer version of the KGS content server for storage. Procter & Gamble also uses the KGS viewer component worldwide to access documents, and it uses it in its latest variation, which is an HTML5 based viewer that is completely has completely eliminated any dependency on front-end Java components. Then we use the migration tool also for Wells Fargo. Here we migrated from an OpenText and SAP Content Server archive to a FileNet Corporate Enterprise Content Management System, and that was accomplished with absolutely zero downtime for all the users. The users didn't know that the system was replaced in the background, and in just by flipping a switch, we sunset the old system and made everything available to users on the new system. And everyone was just working as normal during the whole migration process, adding new documents to the new archive, and while reading and retrieving documents from the legacy archives. So here, let me look at one specific project. This one here is for a large manufacturing client with international business operation. The company split into multiple entities, and that split also prompted a split of the underlying archive. There were significant savings for the two organizations. A migration from initially a migration from a legacy open text archive allowed them to reduce hardware costs significantly, reduce hardware maintenance and operations cost. A dedicated support person was able to be rededicated to other tasks. Database costs were saved, storage costs were saved, and overall total cost of ownership was dramatically reduced. We migrated for this particular client 29 million documents in less than 8 weeks of elapsed time, with close to zero business impact. We were cutting the annual maintenance cost in half, and we were adding a number of improvements during the changeover, adding security for worldwide system access, switching to a VMware architecture, and verifying over 20 business applications to work seamlessly with the new archiving solution. The whole project, of course, took a bit longer than the straight 8 weeks. There was a preparation, a prep time a period, and a consolidation period in the end, but the actual migration, moving of document took a mere 8 weeks, which is for 28 million documents quite an accomplishment in the contribution to the KGS archiving tool. Now, all that zero user impact is actually grounded in a functionality that is also available by a tool that we have created, the SolutionXchg Archive Content Connector, which allows to broker and route calls from SAP to different archives. And this tool can be used for multiple has multiple applications. Is primarily, or it has a prime function in supporting any type of migration project to provide so-called proxy functionality. It takes the incoming call and first routes it, especially if it's a create call, to the primary archive, which would be our future archiving solution, while reading from a secondary or optional a third archive or secondary legacy archive, as I labeled it down here. And with that, the tool is able, with the functionality or with the capability to connect to multiple archive environments. It supports different migration scenarios. It supports testing scenarios where you might want to have a test archive at your primary archive, but in addition, you might also want to have a secondary archive connected, which in this case, secondary archive could be your production archive that allows you to pull documents from a production archive seamlessly in a QA scenario, that you won't taint the production archive with any test documents, but you can really verify all testing scenarios as if you would do them in a production environment. In most cases, this particular functionality is for access and security reasons not available in a QA testing environment, but with the SolutionXchg ACC, you can easily create this scenario and seamlessly integrate with SAP. And even if they are different flavor archive link archives, you could quickly connect them all and make them seamlessly available from SAP. Now, again, what are the business scenarios? We have a seamless integration to legacy archive for migrations and cutovers, just as we advertised earlier on. Zero business impact to the end users. We can provide access with that tool, access to legacy archives during business transformation events like divestitures and mergers, for example, where you have multiple archives, or you want to give the departing company unit access to the mother company's archive solution. Here you could use the ACC to provide secured but read-only access to a legacy archive. We can provide safe access to production archives from non-prod systems for regression and integration testings, what I just mentioned, as well as seamless access to legacy archive in an end-of-life scenario. And this end-of-life scenario might be a scenario that you implement with your S4HANA go live, because here it would pay and totally pay, even if you shy away from a large-scale migration, you could sunset your legacy archive and just keep it frozen in a read-only state, and then continue on with a low-cost, streamlined solution that fits well with your S4HANA on cloud or on-premise implementation, and archive anything new into new archive solution while using the ACC to have easy access to your legacy documents in your legacy archive. One more time, here a quick view on how that would work in connection with migration. So the SAP system would be reconfigured, which is a 5-minute one transaction, one table change, to, instead of connecting directly to your legacy archive or to new production archive, to connect to the ACC. The ACC has its roundabout function and would first check whether the document is already available in the new production archive for retrieval or should be created in the new production archive. If it can't find a hit there, or if it's not a create call, then the call is automatically routed to the legacy archive and served from there. With that, we have a switch over with a click to the new archive server, and we have parallel operations feasible of the legacy archive and the new production archive for whatever the duration of your migration is. And this works with the KGS migration tool or any other migration tools. This is completely transparent and only relies on the SAP Archive Link interface. The legacy archive with that technique during the migration is not changed at all. So there is a full rollback capability in case of any error. The legacy data is not touched, is not deleted, not modified, and serves as a permanent backup until you have the assurance that all the data has completely been migrated and successfully available in the new target archive. With the KGS migration tool, for example, the migration can run on autopilot in the background, completely transparent to any end users. So that brings me to the end of our little tech talk here. We have hopefully given you a good idea of why you should migrate and consider re-implementing your archiving solution in connection with your S4HANA implementation. We gave you some ideas on and some insights in where SAP's direction is with document management and S4HANA. We talked about a use case for an archive migration and talked about the convenient functionality the SolutionXchg ACC tool provides for proxying and legacy archiving system access. At SolutionXchg, we have expertise in business process analysis, SAP module customizing, project management, enterprise content management, and other adjacent topics and themes. We are a premier reseller of KGS software, of Eternity software, data archiving management software by TJC, as well as of selected PBS tools through our partners. We are in a company that specializes in innovative software products with top references for the US market. We have more than 20 years of SAP archiving and document management expertise and are a premier KGS and alternative reseller. We're specializing on low cost, high quality, high ROI SAP add-on solutions from selected vendors. And that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you very much for your attention. And I'll hand it back to Kristen. Kristen, do we have any questions?
Thank you very much, Jochen. Yeah, I hope everyone on the webinar enjoyed the past 30 minutes. And the floor is now open for your questions. Please post your questions in the question panel on the right-hand side of the screen. If you haven't done so yet. If you would like to have get a transcript of the slides, please contact us at info@SolutionXchg.com. I would like to also highlight that we have a case study posted out there here for you that you can download directly from this webinar. But let's start with some of the questions that came in. One is, how is your migration approach different from any typical migration self-programmed tools in ABAP?
That is a great question. In general, our approach of using the KGS migration tool has one particular advantage. The KGS migration tool works outside SAP, and with that, there is no performance impact on your SAP system. Plus, the document ID doesn't change during the whole process. So your document is before and after the migration identified by the same identifier. We're not touching the SAP link tables. So any ABAP-based approach would require that you load the document into a temporary file system and then re-archive it using regular SAP function modules, which would automatically generate a new document ID. So existing links all existing links to documents would be broken, and documents would receive a new document ID in the process, which increases the link tables and requires that you clean up the link tables afterwards. The KGS migration approach is different. It just uses the document ID and archive link commands and uses Java web programs to move documents from one archive to another, and with that does that completely seamlessly. Now, if you pair that so that's a big advantage of the migration tool itself. Now, if you combine that with the ACC proxy functionality and the seamless access to the new production archive as well as the legacy archive, you have a second point where our approach is duly superior to what you might have seen in the past. And this allows to move documents with incredible speed in combination with the KGS migration tool and completely seamlessly to the end user. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, if we are switching to S4 HANA, do we have to immediately start using that SAP Document Center with CMIS?
You do not have to do that as long as you use S4 HANA on-premise. S4 HANA on-premise until right now, SAP says 2025 will continue to support SAP Archive Link in the very same manner as you use it today. So if you have an existing archive that is a classical SAP Archive Link archive, you can implement your S4HANA greenfield or brownfield implementation. You can complete that and continue to connect to your existing archive. Now, if you go to S4HANA in the cloud, then the story would be different. Then it might be advisable to look into a KGS CMIS connectable archive and do a migration and bring your documents over to a CMIS compatible archiving solution. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And then there's one last question, and that is if you could re-explain the different use cases of the ACC.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very interesting question, and because it's a kind of master of all trades tool, it has its primary use case in proxying calls from one SAP system to multiple archiving solutions. And with that, the primary intent for development was to connect any type of test or QA system to multiple production and non-production archiving solutions. Typical use case is you had just made a copy of your SAP system, you copied all the data over, now you're embarking on a round of testing, and you have put together some test cases that you pulled from your current or recent production document creation or data creation scenarios, but all the links to your archive documents are broken. You cannot complete your testing because you can't bring up original invoices, workflow scenarios don't completely work, and so on. But at the same time, you can't configure your QA system to connect to your production archive, because that would allow you to change production data from QA. So here is where the ACC provides a superior solution that allows you to connect the QA system to the ACC, and then all calls from SAP are either routed for creation, document creation, to a test archive, so no test documents make their way into your production environment, but at the same time, all documents that have been created and whose links have been copied over by your production copy can be seamlessly accessed through a read-only functionality that's built into the ACC. So in fact, in a QA environment, you have both archives, the production archive and the test archive connected. The test archive read and write, and the production archive read only. We even have a functionality where you can obscure documents so that the links show, but if there is sensitive documents in certain archives, we can configure it in a way that placeholder documents are displayed. So for example, if you do that in an HR environment, we can obscure HR documents so that not the original HR document is shown in a QA scenario, but a placeholder document. So that's the main idea behind the ACC. At the same time, it also serves with the very same functionality as an intelligent proxy that allows you seamless access to your production and legacy archive during a migration. Same idea. Now, in a production scenario, all production newly created documents go into the new production archive, while at the same time we can still read from the legacy archive as we could before. So the idea is at the beginning of a migration, we actually flip the switch and start archiving into the new archive, not at the very end, and not with a high tension cutover weekend, but really we implement the new archive, we flip the switch on day one, and then in the background continue our migration until everything is moved over. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That was the last of our questions. Thank you very much for attending our webinar today. We hope you got some good takeaways, and we're hoping to see you next time on one of our webinars. Please stay tuned. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.